Getting set for the third and final 25-lap segment for the street stocks. Entering this Mazda style event, Steve Reddit has 2 points. Mark Lambert has 7 points. If Lambert can be Reddit up by 6 positions, Lambert will finish ahead of him. We're anticipating those are the only 2 that have a chance. Front row was Andy Hayward and Brendan Mooney. Awesome Andy gets a nice little jump on the 58. Bill Herring holds out third. We realize that a lot of these cars look new to you since they're T-Road regulars that ventured over for the final race of the season. Andy Hayward will lead the first lap. This is 25 laps in distance. Brendan Mooney, who started outside row 1, is battling with Bill Herring. And take a look at this action. 3, 4 wide, and there goes Mark Lamberton. Mark Lamberton goes the wrong way to one-way street. Well, he's not going to park the automobile as a lot of drivers would do, but he is sporting an awful lot of distance. Hey, you got to give your hats off, tip your hat to Mark Lamberton. He could have parked the car, waited for a yellow, but that wasn't his style, as he just gunned it, got right back in it, and sported an awful lot of distance. 3-car battle for the lead. They started up in the first 3 positions. It is Awesome Andy leading the way over Bill Herring. Brendan Mooney now, who started outside pole, gets the black flag. And the Crunch Bunch is getting it done. Last time they tried this, Lamberton got spun around. Looks like everyone will get through cleanly this time. We've got about 20 more laps. You know what's happened to Lamberton? Steve Reddit has done nothing as he sets easily 20 to 25th of the field. Awesome Andy with the lead. Trouble up in turn 2. Brian Williams went for the same piece of real estate as a lot of other competitors. Reddit have taken his move now. Action all over this speedway. You get a chance to get a look at that number 60 car, the black and gray number 60. That is Rosaire Sierra, top competitor from Thunder Road. And would you believe it? I guess they're taking lessons from Monty Lemaire, because as they enter turn 1, Bill Herring parked the leader, Awesome Andy Hayward. No cause at all. Apparently Bill Herring has been in cahoots with Monty Lemaire. So he just drove right into Andy and took him out of it. And we are ready to resume the third and final 25-lap segment of this Mazda-style $1,000 to win street stock feature. It is Bill Herring setting the pole, Kevin Sorrell on the outside. Where is Andy Hayward? Well, he was put to the back of the pack. Row 2, Mark Barnier and Al Madden. Row 3, the Gerber baby, Chet Davardi Jr. and Jimmy Young. Those are 2 guys who could easily win this third segment. So we are getting ready to resume. Bill Herring already a car and a half in front. But as they come up the turn, he'll be sporting a car length advantage. Herring leading it. Barnier to the inside of Kevin Sorrell. Chet Davardi Jr., Al Madden, and Jimmy Young running in the next 3 spots. And here goes Davardi, but not any room there as he gets into the zero of Barnier. Mark Barnier driving the zero. You got to figure the Gerber baby may be in line to win this one. Good starting position, already to third. Jimmy Young behind him in the 1. That's another good candidate to win it. Right now, Reddit at sits about 12. Lambert at about 5 positions behind that. It is Bill Herring leading the way, a Thunder Road regular. Davardi on the outside of the zero. Barnier. Jimmy Young trying to find Davardi through. Well, this is not a good day for the Haywoods. Awesome Andy was penalized for something not his fault, and Sean McFarland just spun Rapid Randy Haywood. Meanwhile, at the front of the pack, still Herring and Davardi. At 26 is Dave Manning, but even bigger trouble for the 44 of Kevin Sorrell. He loses the engine. He has no idea where he's heading as the smoke just cleared the automobile now. No caution on the track. I don't know. Randy Haywood to the inside of 2. Kevin Sorrell barely moving, smoking up the track. but I guess there's no need for a caution. And on the straightaway, Monty Lemaire decides if he can do it to the New Yorkers, he can do it to Renadat. Monty Lemaire promptly parked Steve Renadat.
Well, once again, we see that Monty Lemaire doesn't care who he takes out, and this time he just flat out parked Steve Renadat on the front stretch.
This will be an interesting call. Early in the race, Andy Haywood got parked by the 6 of Bill Herring. Herring resumed position, Andy Haywood went to the back. Let's make sure Steve Renadat goes to the back of the pack. Well, he's gonna go to the back of the pack as he pits the number 76. And right now, Mark Labradon is all smiles in the car. We are about ready to get this race back underway for the street stocks. Bill Herring and Jed DeVarney Jr. in the front row. Mark Barney or Jimmy Young in row 2. Best action may come from the back of the pack, though. Steve Renadat and Mark Labradon both starting in the back. They both pitted the automobiles on the last caution. Therefore, they're going to have a fun time coming through together. Bill Herring gets a little jump, but DeVarney's got more horsepower as he pulls to the outside. Jimmy Young, number 1, has lost power. Young should be pitting the automobile. And boy, once the Gerber baby, the 14, got the lead, they can't even see DeVarney. It is DeVarney, then Herring, then Mason, then Barnier, and then Al Madden. Jed DeVarney Jr., who had a reasonably good starting position, has made the best use of it. He has gotten himself into the lead. Jim Mason trying to track him down. Bill Herring, who sat on the pole, is sitting 3rd. Mark Barney at 4th. Good battle. Rosaire Sear and Al Madden for 5th. Well, Steve Renadat is not exactly passing cars like he'd hoped to, but he is staying ahead of Labradon, and that is what he has to do. And now Mark Labradon can see Steve Renadat. He's within a couple of car lengths. And it's a shame to say that that is the best battle on the speedway as Eldon Hutchins loses it in turn 1. Hutchins escapes being tagged by any of his fellow competitors. And wouldn't you know it, it is not his day. Steve Renadat has spun in turn 3, a 360 and continued. Meanwhile, the front of the pack, DeVarney and Mason. But the story of the race is Steve Renadat spinning a second time. Jim Mason working over the back bumper of the 14. Scratch at Bill Herring is 3rd and far back to the 2 leaders. Mason looks to the outside. Lap traffic could come into play here. Guzman drives the 49 as a slower automobile. DeVarney and Mason are going to have to deal with that. Right now on the track, Labradon only leads Renadat by 4 positions. Mark Labradon becoming the middle part of a sandwich as Randy Yance and Robin Wood see him from different angles. That's 2 more that Labradon puts away. Meanwhile, Andy Haywood is knocking bumpers with Steve Renadat a little bit farther back. Labradon now going to work on the 60 of Rosaire Sear. He has 5 positions on Steve Renadat right now. He would need at least a couple more to ensure himself a chance to beat Renadat.
Steve, coming into this race, Mark Labradon needed to beat Steve Renadat by 5 spots. Right now, he's got it by 4.
Absolutely. It's one of those situations where Labradon has to do more than beat Renadat. He has to have some cards between him and Renadat. That is by far the best battle on the speedway, even though Jim Mason is all over Jed DeVarney, trust me, the Lamberton-Renadet battle is definitely shaping up. Lamberton, 4 positions over Renadet now. Should Steve Renadet lose it again and go to the back of the pack late in this race, Lamberton will beat him. Many of these cars are battle weary, smoke coming from a lot of them. Well, then again, if you had a year's worth of racing on you, you'd probably be smoking too. Mark Lamberton is stuck on the high groove. Lamberton cannot get past anyone on that line. He has got to find a groove and stick to it. Steve Renadet can see him. He's 4 cars back. Lamberton from the inside of Foster. That's 1. Ray Claflin may block Lamberton. Lamberton doing a push job, trying to get room. Sandwich time. Gets in it with Herring and Claflin. And you were a gentleman before, Mark, but you definitely got in there a little too deep. Neither the 6 of Herring or the 90 of Ray Claflin have refired. Not for lack of trying. They are definitely trying, but they're just not able to go. Herring finally getting some traction. Ray Claflin is in a precarious position in turn 1. 4 spots between the 21 and the 76. In case you're wondering, 2 laps left in the race. It is DeVarney by a good 10 car lengths over Mason. Well, if someone could explain what took so long to throw a caution, I'm willing to listen. Poor Ray Claflin has been parked there at least 3 or 4 laps, and now they decide it's time for a caution. All right, fans, I'll let you make your decision on that one.
Steve, there's only one person this is going to benefit, and that is Steve Renadet, because that's going to allow him to close the gap. Had they not thrown the caution flag there, Renadet had lost 6 positions to Mark Lamberton. That would have given Lamberton the win when the 2 cars spun out in turn 2. Lamberton would have picked up the $1,000, but instead the caution comes out. Those 2 cars get their spots back. They'll go behind Renadet. So Renadet is now 4 cars behind Lamberton, and still he doesn't have enough.
In case you're wondering, I've been told that the car sitting 3rd entering this final segment was the 64 Flying Brian Williams. Lamberton is already ahead of Williams, but oddly enough, Williams is one of the cars between Lamberton and Renadet. All right, fans, I told you that Mark Lamberton was ahead of Brian Williams. Sorry, they decided to put Brian a car ahead of Lamberton. I'm sure some of you may have saw the 2 laps to go sign. Well, as we restart, we've been informed there are 3 laps to go. Okay, whatever, fans. Let's try to settle this. Chet DeVarney Jr., Jim Mason in the front row. They are obviously the cars to beat. Green flag is out. Mark Lamberton has shot up to about 5th. Steve Renadet is about 9th. This is not fun for Mr. Lamberton. Steve Renadet takes Mark Barnier with him as he takes position and spins to 0. May not have been intentional. Renadet did have a nose in front of the 0. This time, 2 to go, 2 to go. Mark Lamberton, 5th on the speedway. Renadet only 3 cars behind. Oh, forget it, make it 2 cars. Renadet explodes down the backstretch. But Chet DeVarney Jr. has only a lap. Oh, major collision in 4. David Foster was laying across the track. Randy Haywood clobbered him, T-boned him. The leaders will come up to the situation in 4. And that was a hard hit, fans. That's Chet DeVarney Jr. And all kinds of trouble out of Ford DeVarney, Mason, Williams, Lamberton, and Renadet. I don't understand the call, fans. Foster in the 12th, laying sideways. Randy Haywood T-boned him heavily. And we go under green flag or checker conditions. Chet DeVarney Jr. will win the battle. But by our calculations, Steve Rennedet will win the war.
He may win the war, Steve, but was it handed to him? I've really got to question the decision of the officials here. They gave the 2 lap to go signal, ran a lap, threw the caution flag, and all of a sudden there's 3 laps to go. They give 2 guys their spots back ahead of Mark Lamberton that he had passed when they were spinning on the backstretch. And very poor decision making and consistent, because we've seen it all season long. We spoke about the favoritism, and a perfect way to end the season for the street stocks, because there's a very blatant example of it tonight.
I have to agree with you 100%. Steve Rennedet won $1,000 for winning the track title, backs it up with another $1,000. He doubles that total by winning this one race. And you have to wonder, what can Mark Lamberton possibly do? I mean, Rennedet has to crash in order for them to let Lamberton get a good finish, it seems.
Well, this is Rennedet's last run in the street stock. He may have benefited from the decision today, but you've still got to give him a lot of credit. He's put that car in victory lane time after time. The fans don't care for him, but nonetheless, he is a good driver, and I'm sure he'll do well in the Flying Tigers. It's just that when you see constant time after time examples of favoritism, well, I don't know.
Oh, I have to agree. I mean, Rennedet is a super driver. I'll never take that away from him. But every now and then you think he gets a little bit of help. Before we finish with the stocks, I just want to send out our best to New York Street Stock driver Ron Klein. As I mentioned earlier, Ron really wanted to be here for this race. He was really looking forward to it. However, it came down with a pretty severe illness. He's been hospitalized. But Ron, get well, buddy. We are looking forward to seeing you in the 92 season here at Airborne. The Flying Tigers make to the Speedway for the final time in 1991. 41. You heard me right, fans. 41 Tigers starting the feature. Front row, Danny Bridges and Lester Armel Jr. And as they come out of 4 to get a start, it will be Armel jumping on the lead over the number 9 of Bridges. Bridges powers through. Oh, Alderman gets sideways with the 34 and brings it back. Could have been a catastrophe with another 38 cars behind you. Roy French is all over the place, gets it gathered up. Hopefully no one else will be involved. Trouble up in 3. We have got Bruce Dusselblanc, Bill Scott, Mo Graves, and I can't even tell the yellow car on the outside. All started with Bruce Dusselblanc, got tapped, got spun around, and as I said, when you got a bunch of cars behind you, you're not going to escape. Bunch up, Oliver to the side of Armel. Here comes the 90. We apologize for the sound difficulties in that last incident up in turn 2. We can tell you 4 cars tangled up. Among them, Bruce Dusselblanc again, and most importantly, Brian Hoare, who was driving his father's 46. The reason for that, there's a good points battle for the rookie championship. David Gay leads Brian Hoare by only 19 points started this weekend. Speaking of points battle, the overall title has not been clinched. The doubles Earl Miller has 30 points on Dragon, but Dragon only has 13 points on Jim Silly as they start this weekend's racing. 41 cars started. Amazing enough, the majority of them still remain. It is Danny Bridges leading the way. Bucko Branham runs second. Tony Poisson third. Pete Fecto using the high groove for fourth. Good battle for fifth. The 99 of French's, 71 of Lester Armel. And Roy French going nowhere in a hurry. He spins it around. Durkee gets involved. Milt Wright gets off. Our Jimmy Barton with a 58. He's forced to take a detour. No caution, which is appropriate because in the last instance that we were not able to bring you due to technical difficulties, they threw the caution flag on the second car, not on the leader, Danny Bridges. It is Bridges leading Bucko Branham. Poisson and Facto the battle for third and fourth. Lester Armel, 71, is sitting fifth. He is doing a great job with that car. Bridges, when he first showed up, had a lot of trouble with the number 9. He's got it all dialed in now. He looked good in qualifying, and he's leading the feature. De facto has cleanly passed the 42 of Poisson to take over third. Meanwhile, Mark Lamphere, driving his brother's number 40, is hounding Lester Armel's 71 for fifth. It is still Bridges, Bucko, Branham, and Pete Fecto running 1, 2, 3. However, Fecto dives to the inside of the Sears Automotive 24 and takes second away from Bucko. Danny Bridges is using his front row starting spot to his best advantage. He is not letting anybody get past him. Right now it is Pete Fecto to 75, the only man who apparently can do it as the rest of the field started to lose ground to the lead. Pete Fecto pulls right with the back bumper of the number 9. He used an inside move to get by Branham. He looks like he wants to try the same thing, but Bridges shuts the door. Dan Bridges, longtime competitor here at Airborne, and he knows his way around a racetrack. Good battle for fourth and fifth. Poisson the 42, Mark Lamphere the 40. Next week you'll be able to see Mark Lamphere here on MotorSports Magazine with his ACT number 06. And the battle for the lead couldn't get tighter. Bridges on the inside. Facto on the high groove. Facto has more horsepower. Bridges has the traction. And Bridges, a half a car is ahead into 3. But the horsepower under the 75 comes into play again. But Bridges, the inside groove is working for Danny. Bridges, Facto, 1, 2. Mark Lamphere, Jean-Paul Cyr, and Bucko Branham right out the top 5. And Pete Facto, again, outside groove working. They make it stick, comes out in front of the 9 and takes the lead. Kim Stockwell has moved his 16 in front of Bucko in the battle for 5th. This is Kim Stockwell's final race in the Flying Tigers. He has already purchased Robbie Crouch's number 48 ACT car for next year's competition. Of course, Kim is hoping that in next week's MotorSports Magazine, Robbie will bring it back in one piece. Facto, 5 car lengths over the 9 of Bridges. Then Mark Lamphere, Jean-Paul Cyr. Here comes Kip on the outside of Cyr. 10 laps to go this time by 10 to go for Fecto. In the battle for the championship, Miller, 30 points over Dragon starting the weekend, is leading him by 4 car positions. And Jim Silly is another good 8 cars back. In the battle for the rookie standings, Brian Horace made up some ground after his incident in turn 2, but he still trailed the 19 of David Gay by about 8 cars. Defecto at one point this season was one of the strongest cars out there. Then the car went away from him. Well, it looks like it's come back around for the finales. He is leading the way. Mark Lampier moves his brother Dwayne's number 40 into second. Kim Stockwell up to third. Then Jean-Paul Scheer runs fourth. Dave Wickham to the outside of Danny Bridges for fifth. And up in 3 are Mel and Buck O'Brien and Tangled. Both cars off the speedway. Should not be a problem. Kim Stockwell is using his last Tiger race to his best advantage. He is dogging the 40 of Mark Lampier, but everyone sees the yellow this time by. And Buck O'Brien, you get... Well, with only a couple of laps ago, this sets up for a dash for cash, a true shootout. Defecto on the inside of row 1. Mark Lampier sits to his right. Row 2, Kim Stockwell and Jean-Paul Scheer. Row 3, don't count these two guys out, Dave Wickham and Scott Carpenter. Danny Bridges, Steve Miller, Red Mead, Joe Thomas, Brent Dragon. Oh, there's a lot of good drivers. If those front guys lose control or try something they shouldn't, there is a lot of good drivers behind him. And meanwhile, it is Mark Lampier getting a jump on the race leader, effective. Mark Lampier hoping to win this one and then jump in his ACT car for next weekend, win the Foliage 300. Make sure you watch MotorSports Magazine. That will be a doozy of a show for the tour. Jim Stockwell down to the inside of Mark Lampier. Stockwell, who will be going to the tour next year, trying to end the Flying Tiger season on a happy note. And a win would be about as happy as he could be. Facto leading Stockwell, but not by much. Dave Wickham up to third. Mark Lampier, then Scott Carpenter, then Joe Thomas, Jean-Paul Scheer, Steve Miller, Red Mead, and Danny Bridges. Dave Wickham may have been holding something back. He gets to the outside of the 16. Gets squirrely, taps Stockwell. They all straight him out. Was it Wickham overdriving the car, or could there be some liquid up in 4? Didn't see any other cars get squirrely. 2 to go this time by. It is still Facto, Stockwell, and Wickham. And in the battle for the rookie points lead, 19 points separate New York David Gay from Brian Hoare. Brian Hoare just passed David Gay. But he's going to have to put a couple of cars between them to get it all. Kim Stockwell inside gets the lead. 1 to go. Kim Stockwell's final Flying Tiger lap may be a profitable one. If Stockwell can hold his line, he should go home a winner. It will be young Kim Stockwell. Serving notice in the tour guides that I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with for the rookie title next year. Facto will be second, Wickham will be third. What a way to end the Flying Tiger season. Kim Stockwell, his final Tiger race, makes it a profitable one to say the least.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stockwell certainly earned that with a great move coming out of the 4th turn at the top of the stretch. It was one of the better moves we've seen in the Flying Tigers all year long, and as they're saying on the PA, Stockwell goes out a winner in his final Tiger race.
Rick and I have been critical on MotorSports Magazine of some of Stockwell's driving styles earlier this year, and we questioned his move to the tour. But if he can drive like he just did in this Tiger race, more power to him, and have a good year next year, Kep. This is it. This will wrap up the 91 Airborne season. The Napa Legends. $500 to win. They told these drivers $500 to win, and they were getting here weeks early. And we have trouble in the front stretch. Why should that be a surprise? Carl Lowe's on the fourth, saving tire wear as he puts the car on his top. That was not a difficult roll. He should be all right. The car rolled very, very safely. However, safety is always a concern with these guys, that they don't always do everything they should to prevent safety. Hey, guys, slow down out of 4. You have a car sitting on its top. Somehow, you would expect this with the Legends to run the final race. Still waiting for Carl Lozon to get out of the automobile. As I said, it was not a hard roll. He should be all right, but you never know with these Legends, Rick, how good the roll cage really is.
Or if there's a roll cage in it.
I was going to mention that there are supposed to be roll cages, but, well, you see some of these guys drive. They don't wear a fire suit, so I'll let you be the judge, fans.
I think Junior Benoit could have prevented the 42 from rolling over. I think Benoit kept going, and that sort of forced the 42 over. I think if Benoit had backed off, Lozon in the 42 would not have rolled.
Oh, I have to agree. Lozon climbed the front end of the 74. Had Junior backed off, Lozon's car would have came down. He would have been fine. Carl is out of the car, maybe a little shaken up. It's probably the first time he set one on his top, but he waves to the crowd. We are glad to see him walking out under his own power.
Now here's the favorite part of a flip. You get about 18 people, and they all push the car over, and usually the driver gets back in it and keeps driving it. Let's see.
The way that car sounded and how it smoked, I don't think Carl's going to be racing today. What do you think?
I think we're going to have a bit of a break here before we go back to green.
Well, the two guys in front started in the 24th, 25th spot. I'm not sure how they picked him up as a leader. I really don't care how they picked him up as a leader. Randy Blake is now your leader. Here's the point. The guy who caused the flip, Junior Benoit, is running second. If you fans can explain that one to me, I'm dying to hear it. Big trouble in 2. Greg Paye, Joe Rotella get involved. Don LeVarway wished he hadn't come over from Vermont. I have no idea how they scored that one, fans. Randy Blake, they have one race here for qualifying, if you want to call 8 or 9 cars qualifying. Randy Blake won it. Randy Blake is a Thunder Road Napa Legends champion, so he should have won it. Oh my Lord, what a way to end the season. It is Randy Blake in the yellow 19, leading the way. Junior Benoit runs second. Steve Dodge holds out third. And again, the front stretch becomes crowded. Michael Forsey, who started 24th that they gave the lead to, is running. Well, we have a problem up in 2 now. That 84 car is Jeff Verdi as he got sideways. But that was no problem. Some of his competitors hit him and just straightened it back around. Blake leads Benoit. Dodge runs third. All 3 of those gentlemen have visited Victory Lane in Napa competition this year. And no one can say that Napa Legend Racing is not fun. 84 Fernia loses control again, but he refires the automobiles. The leaders come by him. Nice enough not to go out in front of the leaders. Randy Blake is your leader, the number 19. The 74 of Junior Benoit runs second. Steve Dodge in the 24 runs third. The 07 is Rob Clark. I believe he's fourth, but the way they picked up the leaders, I'm not sure. This may turn into the Blake Benoit show. After seeing this, Carl Lozon the 4th, who rolled at the start of the race, is probably glad to be out of it. because this is a mess. Randy Blake, still your race leader. Junior Benoit holds out second. Steve Dodge running well in third. And here comes Junior as the race leader. Blake gets tagged up with Forsey. Junior takes the lead. Steve Dodge was running third. He gets a piece of Michael Forsey. Two of the top three are taken out in turn three. And Junior Benoit, oh my, racing fortune becomes that man as he gets the lead. Well, I don't see anyone behind him that's challenging. Junior Benoit working the 0-1 of Mike Utton, making his first and only appearance, obviously, as this is the final race for these guys. That two car with a tape, I believe, is Bassett, who won a couple of weeks ago. Really, there's another number 2, and they have made him change it, or there's another 22, they may have changed his number. Bassett should be second, Clark should be third. The only thing I can guarantee you, fans, is Benoit is the leader. Whoever's in the red, too, they're going the wrong way. Finally get the car straightened. Well, then does a 360 and takes himself out of it. If Clark is on the lead lap, and why shouldn't he be, he is now on the back bumper of the race leader, the 74 of Junior Benoit. Both of these gentlemen have looked very good here at Airborne this year. Both have won more than once. The 53 car in your picture, that's Dave Rotella. Leaders coming up on lap traffic. Well, you can continually say that as lap traffic is strung throughout the track. Remember, $500 goes to the winner. And that's what makes so interesting, the fact they picked up a car that started 24th on the restart. Clark, the inside of the 74. Easily disposes of Junior.
Clark in the 07. 74, Junior Benoit. Oh, we got one in the wall. John Massetti gets a piece of the ride.
The number 58. Who I believe is John Massetti. He says that wasn't very nice. Yellow on the track. We have a pileup in turn 4 or 3. We have action all over the place, fans. We need a yellow just to try to find the leaders. Nice little lead over.
Look out, look out, look out. Junior Benoit out in front. Jay Perantoni second. Randy Blake third, and Larry Sweetser in the 22. Smoking Road, look out, pit road. Here comes the tire. Look out, pit road.
All over the place, way off the track.
I wonder who that tire got.
Junior, then come Jay Perantoni. Randy Blake, who was leading, got dumped.
2 laps remaining for Junior Benoit in the 70. Perantoni, look out, almost loses it. Here comes Randy Blake to the inside. Blake in the
4 of Junior Benoit. Good battle for second on the inside. The 19 of Randy Blake. On the outside, the 15 of Jay Perantoni. 2 Thunder Road regulars. White flag this time out, the final lap of the 91 Airborne season. The honors given to the Napa legends. Gage Charbonneau with a 33 moves wide, allowing the leader going through. Half a lap left for Junior Benoit to pick up $500. Been a while since Junior found victory lane. He waited till a good night. $500 richer. Junior Benoit brings home the checker flag honors. The 19 of Randy Blake is second. And apparently Jay Perantoni will have to settle for third.